Good Wednesday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. So happy that you're here. You've reached the middle of the week. We're getting closer to Knox County's fall break, which will start really this weekend, but into next week for those that might have some plans. But it's really weighing heavily on all of us when we know that there's so many power outages, as I posted last night around 11:30 p.m., that there's still so many without power in North Carolina and beyond. But let's take a look at what we're dealing with this morning. We have our own challenges just trying to get to work or school, and that is the dense fog advisories. This was issued, if you have the Captain Accurate Weather app, it comes right to your phone, right to your screenshot there, as you can see when you open your phone, and you'll see that it lasts until 9 o'clock this morning. Visibility may very well be reduced to a quarter mile or less. And the emphasis on less makes it really important to make sure that you're using your low beams. Here's the visibility as we can see it, and it doesn't look all that great. Where you see white areas, probably very dense. Knoxville's less than a mile, maybe down to a quarter mile in some spots, so please be extra careful. Everybody essentially within the valley may very well have some dense fog to work through, and with these light and variable winds, it's just going to be prolonged probably to at least 9 o'clock. That's why the advisory lasts until then. Again, a favorable atmosphere, a favorable environment for fog to form. We have no wind to speak of. Even in the mountains, it's pretty calm at this particular hour. As we take a look at our temperatures, and I want to check in with your comments because I am live streaming on both Facebook and YouTube. I had some audio issues yesterday, but hopefully I've ironed those out right now. Let me know if I have too much cracking and popping going on the sound. But anyway, I have 64 right now in Newport. Our friends in Crossville checking in at 62, and it's 61 degrees in Wartburg, 63 in Jacksboro. That's our current temperature map as we see it at the moment. Let me take a look at some of the comments. I see a note from Steve Stone. He was quick on the draw with some sunshine, although probably throw in some fog there too, but good to see Steve on here. And I do have a weather report from our friend Fred Witchenbach. He's got 64 degrees, quite foggy, in Blount County in Maryville. So thank you for that update. And Karen Robbins over in Fairfield Glade. We go to the west. She said, David, this is the first day in a week I've awakened to find the back desk, I guess, was dry. So, again, it's been probably pretty rainy even in the plateau with that stalled system there for days. Good morning to Danny. He says, go Vols. Hope you have a great day. Glad to have Danny here as well. If you have a comment, I'll check back in with your notes, and we'll put you on the screen as best I can in the time that we have allotted. Dew point temperatures are pretty close. You know, when your air temperature matches your dew point temperature, you get the ratio 100%. And 100% in this case is dense fog. And we're going to have that probably again tomorrow, so be forward thinking. If you had to get up early today and get to work on time, you might want to set the alarm maybe 5 extra minutes just to get you out the door without too many issues, some problems. But as far as the rain, don't see much. There were some routine inspections done on the MRX radar yesterday. So if you were looking at your radar, maybe looking at the app, saying, it's raining, but I don't see it. There were some slight interruptions, but it appears to be back up and running, and we can see that we'll find some sunshine today, but we've got to wait for this fog to burn off. I want to kind of lead off a little bit with bus stop because it's so important to drive extra slowly. You should be driving slowly anyway, but fog, again, just compounds it. It's harder to see kids. It's harder to see the yellow school bus when it's dense. But keep in mind, we should be around 76 for the pickup between 2 and, say, 3:30. I expect high temperatures to make a run toward 80 degrees. That's my expectation. In fact, you can see them. 80 for Knoxville, 81 for Kingston. I think after this fog burns off, hard to imagine we get that warm. But we were 78 yesterday in Knoxville, and it was 79 in Oak Ridge. So we're going to be about 1 or 2 degrees warmer as I see it. But notice the coolness. It's not that warm in Jamestown today. It's not that warm in Oneida. So if you're in Scott County, you'll be lucky to get out of the lower 70s. It's just the way cookie crumbles. Moisture deficit has basically vanished. Tomorrow we'll be getting the latest drought monitor from NOAA, and I suspect that a lot of it's going to have been chipped away because of Helene. Tropical storm Helene is what came through East Tennessee about a week or so ago, and now there's just one little patch of purple up in Kentucky, it would appear, and down toward Huntsville, where they could actually use a little bit of water. They could use a drink of water in Huntsville, but that is certainly not the case here in East Tennessee, as we've made up for that deficit. Now, by the way, I will, and didn't get a chance to, time permitting yesterday, but I will talk a little bit about winter. So if you want to stay with me at the end of the live stream, or just fast forward if you're watching this on delay, I'll have a few words about winter coming up at the end of this live stream. I want to show you the radar, the ultimate Doppler radar, presented by your local Marco's Pizza. suggesting again that we have more of that butterfly effect, still dealing with that flood warning, which you can check out on the app, having to do with downwind of the dam release. But most of what we're dealing with today will be spotty rain. I don't expect much. A lot of what you're seeing is probably associated with the fog, the condensation, the sprinkles, the drizzle, and again, right around 5 o'clock or so, that's when we had our dense fog advisory issued. By the way, Marcos.com, a great place to go if you're making lunch plans. They do deliver. That's one of the benefits. And they deliver late, too, so if you're a late night owl. Hardin Valley, Farragut, Maryville, they've got locations in Fountain City, Halls Oak Ridge, Middlebrook Pike, and Ebenezer Road. The pepperoni pizza is magnificent when it's less than $10, which it is for a limited time. But the Magnifico is what they call it. You could put anything on it, actually. And then Pizzoli, they've got the pepperoni and sausage, which is my personal favorite. But you may prefer the buffalo chicken for less than $6, the new Pizzoli at Marcos.com. We mentioned the fog. It's not just a Knoxville thing. It's a Tri-Cities thing. It's a Western Virginia thing. It's even into a Northern Georgia thing. So fog is going to be pretty much anywhere if you're on the roads and having to get somewhere in a hurry. Still a couple of showers, really kind of now approaching the Great Lakes from Minnesota, as there's some rain down there or up there, and a couple of showers in the Gulf. But I got to tell you, this Gulf of Mexico thing, this will be something to watch over the next 6 to 10 days. 6 to 10 days, if your fall break plans take you to Florida, for example, you might have some hiccups. You might have, man, I wish I didn't spend that money or invest that money down there, because they're going to have more tropical weather. Even though if it doesn't get a name, if it's raining at your beach cabin or wherever you're going, beach house, you're going to have some slowdowns potentially from what could be the next named storm. I got another comment or two from Wanda Poe. She is here to confirm that she has foggy conditions in Newport. Wanda, stay safe. Glad to see you here. Good morning. Maryland says it's 64 degrees outside and heavy fog here in White Pine. Be safe, everyone. Glad to have Maryland here as well. Want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to show you hopefully some things that you just haven't seen or heard anywhere else. I'm not talking about the national map that you probably can get from the mainstream media, but I want to show you something more local. When you look at October, it is typically, and you've heard probably me say this before, it is typically the driest month of the year. Now, there's always a caveat to that, because if you get something like a Debbie or a Helene roll up in this direction. Debbie essentially missed us, but we got hit from Helene. So sometimes it's a hit or miss. Whether you get something tropical in October, it can skew the numbers. But at least over the last 30 years, and I'm using the dates from the second line of the banner there, 1991 to 2020, we averaged 2.81 inches, so less than 3 inches. That is the lowest average of the 12 months. So this is usually when it's dry for your pumpkin patch. It is usually dry for your corn mazes and all the fun things that you do around Halloween. But we did receive officially 6.33 inches in September, putting it well above the normal. That is local as can be. By the way, post-tropical cyclone Helene, I've showed this because this is the actual track that Helene took as it turned slightly to the west of Knoxville proper. Now, if you saw my post yesterday, I talked about upslope flow. Okay, you've lost me. What does that mean? The dirty side of the storm. You've lost me. When you talk about winds and air that's forced to rise as it approaches the mountains of North Carolina, it can squeeze out more raindrops. If you think about it like a car wash sponge, you need rising air to get clouds. You need rising air. So you have this storm coming in with velocity like Helene, which was a decaying hurricane, right? It was still a tropical storm when it came here, but it eventually moved back toward middle Tennessee, slowed down, which is why we've been into the same weather pattern for the last 2 or 3 days. And today a spotty rain shower is possible. But why would the storms have been worse? This is why it's so misleading to just look at the cone. How many of you, I got messages from Greenville say, I'm in Greenville, I'll be fine. I'm fine. Maybe you are fine. Maybe you lost power. But I wasn't in the cone. I'm so confused. The cone has value, but not as a sole measurement, because it's only suggesting where the center of circulation is. And typically, the quote-unquote dirty side of the storm, which is really the left, front, rear, I mean, you're basically the jet stream dynamics are stronger on the side northeast of the motion. So if you're on the northeast side of the eye, and there really was an eye to a tropical storm, but there was a circulation center, you're going to have some very nasty, intense rain. You're going to have some ferocious winds, and that's what we saw clearly in Unicoi County. Where's Unicoi County? Just south of Johnson City, right? Midday on Saturday, they had a washed-out road. So is it any coincidence? And you say, well, the upslope flow, that's maybe a little bit more difficult to understand, but it also ties to winter because upslope flow can also squeeze out more snowflakes. But rising air cools, right? As the air cools, moisture is more condensed, and that produces more rain and clouds. And that's what they had. The rain was more intense in North Carolina, around Asheville, around Boone, than it was here. We had a lot of rain. I'm not trying to dismiss that. But when you have downsloping winds, the sinking air warms and dries things out. So you look at the actual rainfall total, they were more than twice. Knoxville, we had, what, 6 inches? They had 15 at least in the white areas, in around Asheville, maybe around Fletcher, Hendersonville. So it really depended on the track. And as I said Thursday night, it's all about track, baby. That's really how it breaks down. So upslope flow, issues here, but things kind of dry out when it's downsloping winds, and you can see that illustrated here. You have the strong upper level winds flowing over the mountains. I think that was what Helene was doing, don't you think? Strong winds over the mountains. But once the winds came down the hill, kind of like running down the hill, sometimes it's harder to walk down chimney tops or Mount LeConte, but then it is trying to climb up. Although some people say you got to slow down so you don't go too fast. But these winds can, in fact, dry things out. The cool air at the top of the mountain, winds near the top of the flow downward is like an illustration, but it does tend to be a little bit cooler. And then as the air rushes downward, it warms and dries out. I'm not to say we didn't have rain. We had a lot of rain, but compare it to the other side. On the upslope side, it was not as bad. Hurricane Kirk, I just want to point him out because we are going through names that you may not have known. A major Hurricane Kirk will be, but not a problem for us, only for those in the shipping industry. If you had a cruise line or something out there, they'll be working around that. But Cat 3 is what this is expected to be. Captain Kirk, we'll call him Hurricane Kirk, not a factor. But what will be a factor would be either Milton or Leslie in the Gulf of Mexico. I'm looking at that patch of red off to the right. That could become Leslie. Again, just conjecture, but it's all about who they name first. If they name that little red patch in the Atlantic after Kirk to become Leslie, that would be Leslie. And then the next storm in the Gulf of Mexico would potentially become Milton. And Tropical Storm Milton could be in the Gulf of Mexico in a matter of days. But that's going to be a slow mover, no doubt. Leslie, Milton, and Nadine are the next names on the list. I want to say good morning to you. A little bit of a overly didactic, but I don't want to oversimplify. There are people that go to, I guess they go to get their PhDs in what some of the dynamics of tropical weather. So I'm just oversimplifying it just so that it's more understood that the upslope flow made it a lot worse for our North Carolina neighbors. Tammy Bullock is on here. She is saying hello. Good morning, Brother David. Glad to see Tammy here. I got a note from Sydney. She's also wanting to give us her greetings. She says, good morning, David Aldrich Weather. And I got another note from Juana saying, thank you for helping us out in Newport and other places. God bless you all. Well, I appreciate all of you and your support you have. I appreciate you all more than you know. But temperatures, again, still in the 60s. We're headed toward 80 today. If we get some spots of rain, these may be the spots, right? This is what the modeling would suggest as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours or beyond. I don't think rain will be an issue past maybe Friday evening, but this takes us through about Saturday morning. Some of this, again, still trying to figure out the solution. It's very spotty today, but clearly with all this fog, it's producing the need for wipers. You're going to need the wipers just to keep the condensation, the droplets off your windshield. So this may be academic. As far as what's measurable, you're going to be hard-pressed to find much rain. This, I think, is a good representation. This is 5 o'clock Friday. Most of the rain we have between now and Friday, 30% chance, will come in for the last workday of the week. Saturday looks dry, lots of sunshine. Sunday looks dry, lots of sunshine. But some of us may pick up maybe 0.05 of an inch more of rain, not much more. But I do want to draw your attention to the Gulf of Mexico. You can clearly see something's brewing down there, and it's a matter of time before something gets named. So places like Tampa, some places like Mobile, Gulf Shores, New Orleans, they're going to have some very disturbed weather most likely in the coming days for sure. Meanwhile, the sun comes up at 7:32 this morning. It's now 6:54. Sun sets at 7:17. And with, again, more fog in the morning, we have some challenges there. Let's focus on something really positive, which is our Tennessee Volunteer football team. Saturday evening on ABC, Go Big Orange, our 4-0, who happen to be, I believe, ranked number 4 in the country, but I think they're number 1. Maybe the rest of the country hasn't figured that out yet. Is that a fair assessment for someone maybe not be as sports-minded? I mean, I think we should be number one, but we'll give them time. They'll come around. But 3-2 is the record for our opponent, Arkansas Razorbacks. Temperatures should be in the upper 70s, cooling back to the upper 60s by the fourth quarter, but sunshiny skies. I do want to show you, just touch on fall color. Usually it's late September, early October that the peak occurs in the Rockies. Our friend Evan Fisher, who has presented this map for us from Explore Fall, was in fact impacted from the storm known as Helene. So some of the data that we're getting from him might have been compromised from the winds. So we're going to get more updates from him in the days to come. But I do see some of the information that we're getting from him may be skewed or delayed. But if you are headed up toward New England over fall break, usually that occurs in the darker green areas, which would be generally late October, mid-October, early October for Maine. West Virginia mountains, some of them could be certainly peaking in early October, but usually it's that third week in October that we see great color in the Smokies. And then for us, probably closer to Halloween, early November for Knoxville. That's why we're colored yellow. But I do want to give props to Evan Fisher and keep prayers for him, because I believe he is in North Carolina and it has some real impact from this Helene factor. A lot of folks, tens of thousands, if not 500,000 or so, still without power last I heard, and it's not good there. Temperature right now 63 in Knoxville, 65 Johnson City, 58 in Jackson, and 58 in Memphis. For those of you that are on the road today, just be extra careful. Low beams are almost assured because of the fog. Dew point temperatures are dropping. In yellow, feels very comfortable in Paducah. I can assure you that, because dew points are in the mid-40s. It feels every bit like autumn there, while it's a lot stickier in Johnson City at 65, 63 dew point in Knoxville. Some spotty rain today. It's now 6:57. My goal is to be done here in about 3 minutes. Dry weekend ahead and cooler nights. I'm talking about our temperatures in the upper 40s by Tuesday morning of next week. So we will see some cooler air heading in our direction as well. Right now it's 63 degrees in Knoxville, 100% relative humidity. Notice the dew point temperature matches the air temperature. Well, that's a quinky dinky. No, it's not a quinky. That when they match, you get relative humidity that's fully saturated, and that's sadly what we're dealing with this morning. Here's the Valley Planner. High temperature today should be around 80 degrees. I got a couple of notes for you. 78 was yesterday's high. That was forecasted. We started off at 65. By the way, the normal high and low now is 77.55 for high and low. We hit 96 in 2019. If those of you remember, we had like 3 or 4 days in the 90s in early October. It was a mind-boggling year. But then conversely, the record low of 36 today came in 1946 and in 1895. So if you like context, I like to be able to present that to you here on a Wednesday morning. Precipitation chances fall off by Friday evening, so things will be quiet as some folks will get an early start, I'm sure, to their fall break in Knox County. Storm Prediction Center not showing much at all. No severe weather anywhere in the country. A couple of general thunderstorms will be possible there in Florida from Miami to Tampa. Things look a-okay here, and will stay like that not only today, but where we do get some passing showers, it's not going to have any thunder to it probably until Friday. I'm kind of curious to see if they have any thunder for us. They keep it in Florida for Thursday. As we zoom in a little bit tighter for Knoxville, no problems there. Yeah, they kind of put it in Knoxville, right? Friday, I have some thunder. They do concur or agree with what I'm putting out, but they put it squarely over the valley, southern valley. So Friday will include the potential for some, we'll say isolated thunder, but a few extra showers. I have a 30% chance of rain on Friday. Speaking of the futurecast, there's a front dragging its heels, as you can see here, through 5 o'clock today. That could be what spawns a few showers at best. Heading into Thursday, I think a passing shower in the Smokies, maybe some drizzle for the mountains if possible, and you can see how that lines up in the Smokies by 5 o'clock Thursday. But if we jump ahead to Friday, as we're having a slow-moving front to the west, there'll be enough energy to kickstart a few more showers like so. So by 5 o'clock Friday, the drive home may have a few extra showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, and that's about it. And then we're off to the races for sunshine. We'll spoil ourselves with more sunshine on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and beyond. And of course, Saturday night, we'll be watching the Arkansas-Tennessee game. By the way, clouds, fog, hazy sun for today. Spots of rain. It's now 6:59. I want to finish up on time, as I hope to be done at the top of the hour. About 81 in Newport for a high temperature here on a Wednesday. 81 for Kingston. but only mid-70s for Crossville, Lake Tansy, and Fairfield Glade. 74 for Middlesboro, where they're also dealing with some fog this morning. A high of 76 if you're headed to the Tri-Cities, 82 for Chattanooga, and if you're westbound heading to Nashville, they should be around 77 today. 58, the low temperature tonight, a little cooler. Few clouds, more patches of fog. Give yourself some time. Winds are going to be light and variable for much of the night. And how about that? Normal low, again, is 55, but we'll be down about 57 for Oak Ridge and 53 for Wartburg in the heart of Morgan County, starting the day on Thursday, because today, of course, is Wednesday. Here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville and East Tennessee. 83 on Thursday, 82 on Friday. I have both Saturday and Sunday just mostly sunny at 84. But one of those numbers that pop off the screen might be that Tuesday morning time frame when some might be considering, I need a jacket. I need to turn on the heat in my car. It's cold. They'll be in the mid-40s in Crossville. I'm sure in Oneida, some of the areas in the plateau will be in the mid-40s probably by Tuesday morning, the way things are shaping up so far. I want to check in with your comments. If you have a note, Kelly Hart's wanting to say good morning. Glad to have Kelly here. She says go Vols. Very excited about getting back because that bye week. I guess if you're going to have tropical weather like Helene, might as well occur on a bye week, but not good if you're trying to get married on the bye week. That seems like a popular week. People get married in the fall season. But good morning, David, says Linda Rice. Prayers for all the people affected from the hurricane. I absolutely agree. And, of course, Tammy also supporting her Go Big Orange. That heart is actually orange, but not showing up in color there. Janet Potts also giving a weather report. Love having it. She's in Talbot. She's got 61 degrees, and she says it's foggy and foggy. Have a nice day, everyone. So happy to have you here. If you've stayed this long, let me give you what I expect. If you are, by the way, if you're on Facebook and you're trying to find me on YouTube, it's free. When we say subscribe to that channel is free. You can go to YouTube. It's youtube.com/@Captain Accurate. And you should find me. You can just follow me along, so when you get videos there, you'll be able to see that. Something else that's free is my app with Pete Michaels Traffic. You get weather and traffic that's perfect together, and it's all local traffic. It's all local weather. Primarily, you can access anything in the world as far as thunderstorms, typhoons, hurricanes, but you get all the National Weather Service alerts. The most important one this morning was the dense fog advisory. But you get 3 extras from Barron, plus lightning alerts and all the rest. And if you want to consider, and I hope you will, the premium service. Some of you are like, I'm kind of interested. This would be the best time of the year to join. Because coming up in the next couple of weeks, my winter weather outlook will be coming out this fall. And you might want to be a part of what that means. Now, remember my track record. I said 8 to 12 inches of snow last year. And none of us, unless you're a premium member, you probably didn't know that was my forecast. But I made it around the 29th of October. That was 2 days before Halloween, and we got 8.5. You got to say props. Officially, 8.5 occurred around the holiday of Martin Luther King weekend. So I'll be coming out with my expectation this year. I will be putting that out on just the premium side. So if you want to join us, it's just 16 cents a day. That factors out to just $4.99 a month, and you can cancel anytime. So some of you might want to join us, but because we've got snow in the forecast, you'll be the first to get the snow forecast. You're first to get every forecast if you're a premium member, and we focus on a daily basis the weather that goes beyond the next 7 days. We look at 2 weeks ahead, we look at 30 days ahead and beyond. You get more Facebook Lives, you get fewer ads. I mean, it's the best bargain in East Tennessee, in my view. If you want weather information, if you want to know what's on top of mind of me, and I'll share it with you as I see it, I'll let you know what I see. But I'd love to have you join us. And again, it's one of those situations where tis the season where some interesting weather is happening in the Gulf. You might want to be included in that as well. Well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.